The Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, or PCI DSS, is a set of security standards. These standards help protect credit card data. All companies that process, store, or transmit credit card information must follow PCI DSS. PCI DSS protects businesses and their customers from data breaches. Data breaches can be expensive and damage a company's reputation. Following PCI DSS helps prevent data breaches and builds trust with customers. A PCI DSS Gap Analysis is a process. It helps organizations find weaknesses in their payment card data security. It compares their current security posture to the requirements of the PCI DSS. This guide will walk you through each step. First, identify the scope of your cardholder data environment, or CDE. This includes all systems, applications, and personnel that handle cardholder data. Next, gather documentation. This includes policies, procedures, network diagrams, and system configurations related to cardholder data security. Then, assess your current security controls. Evaluate your existing security measures against each PCI DSS requirement. After that, identify gaps. Document any areas where your organization is not compliant with PCI DSS. Finally, develop a remediation plan. Create a roadmap for addressing the identified gaps and achieving compliance. Now let's start by identifying the scope of your cardholder data environment. The first step is to accurately determine the scope of your cardholder data environment, or CDE. The CDE encompasses all systems, networks, and processes that store, process, or transmit cardholder data. Thoroughly identify all locations where cardholder data is present, including servers, databases, point-of-sale systems, and paper records. For example, a retail store would need to consider its POS terminals, back-office servers, payment gateways, and any physical storage of receipts or invoices containing cardholder data. Gathering documentation. Gather all relevant documentation related to your current security controls. This includes policies, procedures, network diagrams, system configurations, and previous PCI DSS assessment reports. Having this information readily available will make the gap analysis process more efficient. For example, collect your organization's data security policy, incident response plan, network segmentation documentation, and firewall rules. Assessing your current security controls. The next step is to assess your current security controls against each of the 12 PCI DSS requirements. This evaluation involves reviewing your existing security measures and comparing them to the specific requirements outlined in the PCI DSS standard. For example, for Requirement 1, which is to install and maintain a firewall configuration to protect cardholder data, you would assess your firewall rules, configurations, and vendor documentation to ensure they meet the PCI DSS standards. Identifying gaps. By comparing your current security controls to the PCI DSS requirements, you can identify any gaps or areas of non-compliance. Document these findings clearly, noting the specific requirement, the current state, and the desired state. For example, if you discover that your organization does not have a formal process for managing vendor access to cardholder data, this would be identified as a gap related to Requirement 12.3, which is to implement and maintain a formal process for vendor risk management. Remediation and ongoing compliance. Once you have identified the gaps, develop a remediation plan to address each issue and achieve compliance with PCI DSS. This plan should outline specific actions, timelines, and responsible parties for implementing the necessary security controls. For example, for the gap identified in the previous example, the remediation plan might include developing a vendor management policy, implementing a vendor access request process, and conducting regular vendor risk assessments. Regularly review and update your security controls, policies, and procedures to maintain ongoing compliance with PCI DSS.